Hey everyone, my name is Eddie Wang and welcome to Season 2 Jin Kazama first video, and we are going to breaking down all the Jin changes and what to expect for Jin in the future, how to play from here, the things that you can do now and the things that you can no longer do. So Jin has received a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nerfs, and he got like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buffs, and the rest of the buffs are kind of like indirect buffs, because a lot of characters has been nerfed in this game, and those adds up to the stuff that are buffed for Jin in general. Like for example, there are a lot of moves with less pushback on block now, and Jin can now launch those moves which he couldn't launch before. Sadly, it doesn't mean he's to wake up mid kicks and wake up mid kicks, right? He still cannot punish those, unfortunately, because we still suck at range of 12 frames, unfortunately. So the first nerf that Jin got is down for 144. This is now closer. It has less pushback and it's no longer minus 11. Now it's minus 12, as you guys can see. Meaning that Jin cannot punish if he is on this position, but if he moves to the side, he can actually punish this one. But there is also a much bigger problem is now, because you can actually delay, right? You can actually delay and make people like make people respect it a little bit, right? But still a really nerf, one of the biggest nerfs that he got. The other ones are like kinda a toss-off. Not many people use those stuffs. All the 5 nerfs were kinda situational and optional. It wasn't really needed at all, and so we don't feel the nerf as much as some other characters that got nerfed, but they are still nerfs into things that were situational before. This is one of them. The other big change is back forward 3-2 Zen. No longer launches people who tries to duck it, unfortunately. So Namco has taken away the poly launcher mix-up. No longer works, as you guys can see. It doesn't even work on sideways anymore, so people are going to be able to duck this stuff now. And the only position where this works is if Jin is completely like on the back on someone, then this is going to work. So it only if it's on the back of someone is that when this is going to work. And so it became extremely situational. You no longer have you no longer have the electric wind hook fist pushback that this gives, or the electric wind guard fist pushback that this uses to provide. If you guys see, this is a lot more than the electric wind hook fist. It's pretty much electric wind guard fist pushback, so it uses to be good to apply pressure, and you no longer have it with back forward 3-2 on guaranteed hits anymore. So people are going to be able to duck this now and launch it, but the mix-up is still there. So if they try to duck it, since they can duck now you can actually use this much earlier. And you can hit confirm, right? Yes, you can still hit confirm this stuff, and if they duck, they get a max of 67 damage. Of course, you can mix this with CD1, and you can still mix this with CD4. So don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but the thing is, you can no longer Zen 1+2 people ducking it and launch them, because before they couldn't even duck it. So it has gone and it's not coming back on a near future. Another change, big change, is the Avenger. Avenger setups are dead. Jin can no longer track people with Avenger, something that he could do before. And with this, all the Avenger memes that we use it to utilize, throw people with it, hitting top players with Avenger, it's all dead. So all these nerfs are like kinda situational. They don't really affect his gameplay in general, because Jin didn't need those stuffs to win. Those are pretty much more like situational tech gimmicks per se. Troll stuffs, right? And he has been given like some really serious shit now, which we're going to cover next. And the first thing that we're going to cover is, of course, is new standing 4 animation, which is a huge insane buff that they gave to Jin. If you guys remember, I complained about this for a year, and it wasn't really fair like to Jin players, the way how some people use it to get away with murder. This includes Warang bitches, Xiaoyu bitches, Azuka, every single character with the smallest hitbox. You couldn't pick them up, and this included Jin, Devil Jin. Those were among the characters that Jin couldn't even pick up, and it used to be extremely random. Sometimes you get the distance right and you pick them up, and sometimes you don't. Kazuya were among one of those characters as well. But now every single character in the game is going to get picked up into this beautiful combo right here, which is just scratching the surface, because this new animation, you can explore to do like you can explore this to do a lot of stuff and do like some really huge combos from it, and you can even discord tech out of it, as you guys can see. And it works on every single character in the game, male or female. It doesn't really matter the hitbox size. So why this is like huge for Jin, because now you actually get to utilize your 4 and without fear of getting like a big reward on it. It's like more like a Steve's back one, but it's a homing, right? A homing kick that is going to put some fucking fear into every single player who likes to mash and do shit and like in front of you. Now you get to actually space, and if people are trying to play crazy, like for example, let's say whiffing moves or strings from distance, let's say the opponent is doing this, for example, from distance, now you get to hit them before, and you get to utilize like a much bigger combo. So now you finally have the time to focus on learning how to use counter hit 4 instead of trying to space everything with electric or 4-4. Now you have 4-4 that is high and it's a homing, which is 3 frames faster, which is of course is standing 4. Remember that this is not a magic 4, and this is more like a Steve back 1-2, right? It's a 13 frame launcher on counter hit, so really good. Remember that in the discussions there weren't some people that really wanted this, some even wanted the counter property taken away, but Namco was kind enough to give us exactly what we asked for, the animation to be changed in order so we can actually hit every single character in the game. And now we have this beautiful animation right here, which I will not going to forget that sooner. So really good stuff. Thank you Namco for giving me actually counter hit 2, which is going to put some fucking fear into every single player that likes to mash and come with every single stuff they have. Now I get to keep them in check if they don't know the plus frames that they are. So we are going to be able to launch them for further stuff, right? This does a lot of possibilities. This is the most consistent route, by the way, but there is a lot that you can do. There is a lot that you can do with this. What the hell? So there is a lot that you can do with this, and this is like really huge, and you can actually just showing this like real quick. Now you get to utilize this. This is like some really good shit right now. You can do this, and the minimum damage is 64, as you guys can see, meaning with the less health you have, the more this is going to do. And you have some like new combos out of it. And you guys can see sorry, the damage is really huge, and this is a tool that every single character in the game should fear, right? Any gap that is +4 for Jin, this is huge. Any gap that is +4 for Jin, this is used. If your opponent is at +2 and try to utilize a 13 frame move, this is huge. If he is at like a +3 and tries to utilize a 14 frame move or higher, this is huge, because this is going to launch people that are so eager to press buttons no matter where they are, unless they remain still and duck it. So be careful with Jin counter hit 4, because this is here to do some damage. And finally we have, of course, the down 4. Down 4 is now -12 on block and -1 on hit. It's safer now, of course. People can now utilize this against Kazuya, Josie. Who else launches our 13 frame that I can remember? There is a bunch of characters that can launch at 13 frame, right? On while standing, with their while standing moves. Now we have a safe law against those moves, that which can only be punished by while standing 1 in general. So now we get to take some risk against those people, and they have to low parry that to get the most of it. Of course, -1 being great, and which is like a Dragunov law right now, which the only difference is that Dragunov law on counter hit, it gives like it gives plus frames on counter hit, and Jin doesn't, right? It's still -1 regardless, but a really good move now, really good move to force people into open themselves more, because now you get to avoid stuff much easier and do some stuff with it. Yeah, so really good move. And finally we have the 3-1 into Zen, which is the new stuff that Jin got, and just going to cover this like real quick. 3-1 into Zen is the new change, and isn't, some people say that isn't much of a great change, but this does a lot of good stuff for Jin. For example, now your CD4 combo is going to do much damage. Before we used it to get like 48. But with this, and we even get like, I believe, the recovery is almost the same, but it seems that it takes longer. Oh yes, so this one has more recovery, but it does far more damage, right? And sometimes you want this, and they have to approach from full screen, so it's really good. And if you land 2 of those, the damage tend to stack much quicker than before. So instead of 96, now you get 102 damage with 2 health sweeps. So another reason for people to block CD4 more, right? So they will try to crouch and block Fuzzy Guard to block the CD4 more against Jin for that specific region. But this isn't the only thing that 3-1 into Zen brings. 3-1 into Zen brings a lot of things in the game. One of them is this. This is like a new wonder at the wall. It is not as plus as the regular one, which does 1 point more damage and is still more plus. So this is still the most optimal, but now it's kind of down like to preference, and sometimes I feel like off aces this combo is a lot much better. I mean this one. And before like on low parries, which is one of the biggest change. So if your opponent wake up with a mid kick, if your opponent wake up with a mid kick, right? We use it to get like this, right? We use it to get this, but now we get this. So it's a lot more, as you guys can see. So this is one of the biggest changes. Why is like wall game is a lot better. You guys can see 58, 58 as well, 58 as well. So from low parry at the wall, Jin got like a much better combo. And so all this is now replaced by this, which all do a lot more damage, right? A lot more than what we use it to get like with this. So here are the biggest difference: 56, 55, 54. See? So this is one of the biggest changes. His wall game got better with this launcher. So situations where you want to use 3-1 for Zen, 3-1 into Zen into 1-2 is after every wall splat. So at wall splat this is better. Of course you can still like and get 65, right? And get 65 as well. it also helps with splats, and you get a lot more. $67. $67. So this is the main change at the wall. So 3-1 Zen 1-2 helps on these situations, and on female characters always utilize this version. This version is always guaranteed on females, and you get to do like the most squeeze a little bit more on wall splats, especially if you don't like to resplat. If you don't like to resplat, so this is like your go-to. Your go-to tool. See, 60, 61. So this is still more plus, right? This is still more plus on block, and sometimes people take longer to stand or take too earlier, so you get to utilize some stuff. So this changes okis. So I'm going to show you some stuff that I was investigating with the difference. So first one is this. So now you get to utilize. See, so 13 frames mids are now going to catch people that are waking up with this stuff. Before you couldn't get this, but now so interesting thing is this changes oki. It's less plus actually, but it's still plus enough in order to make some of the earlier moves of Jin to hit. For example, yes, is down for 1 connect. Let's see if we can get to connect all the stuff. Yes. Nope, as you guys can see. So 1 for once, like this is less plus, right? See, so a good way to beat spring kicks now is using this ender, which gives them less time on the ground, so you get to utilize stuff against people that tries to wake up earlier, so you don't risk mistiming your stuff. So if you want the more plus frames to do some different stuff, you can utilize the first ender, right? And if you want to do some setup, you utilize the one with the less plus frames. So really good stuff for Jin. What else can we do? yes, 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 yes. Oh shit, wait, what? Okay, okay. Let's save in this to research later. So, and finally, let's just get out of the corner and show you real quick the final piece of the game, which is, of course, 3-1 into Zen, which is actually +4 on block. So now Jin has a plus frame string. It looks kind of weird, right? But this is actually plus, and it's plus enough in order to scare off a lot of players and a lot of Jin players and a lot of people. So you will going to see down the line people trying to duck this in order to avoid the plus frames, and this is completely natural. Just do not think that Namco is going to remove the gap that it has between this and Sunning 3 into this has a gap, right? As you guys can see, it has a gap that it pretty much, this string is going to force a gap onto people. But why this isn't like Shaheen string? Shaheen string is only 4-1 and he has like 4-4, which is a mid-mid, of course, which forces people to not duck, right? But Jin doesn't have like a mid-mid, high mid. He has 2-1, which forces, which cannot be delayed. He has this, right? And he has like, what else does he has? But why I'm saying that not many people are going to duck this on reaction is because on your right mind, do you know how much frames it takes to react to something? 3 is 14 frames, right? And at 14 frames, the second hit comes out at 18 to 70 frames, 17 to 18 frames. So no one is his right mind is going to see this string and duck 3-1 and duck the 1 on reaction. It's pretty much impossible. And the only way they are going to duck this is if they are expecting 3-1 right now. So for Jin players, this is going to be a conditioning game, and if you hit this stuff like Standing 3 and they block it, now you get to check people with this if they are trying to duck the 1, because it's impossible to see the 1 and react to it. It's literally impossible to do. And if you try to visually see the 1 and try to duck, remember that Jin has some options from this. He has this, which is going to hit people trying to press buttons after trying to react to the 1, and this is going to launch, right? This is going to launch, right? So really scary, right? Really scary. And he also has like this right here, right? He has like this, and he has like this, and you won't be able to duck like all options, because it's going to be a mix-up game, right? It's going to be a mix-up game of either you duck the 3 and get clipped by other stuff like this, and remember that they have to interrupt after the Zen, and the only the fastest option that comes out to interrupt is when Jin enters Zen. And so while the stance is forming and start to cancel it is when the fastest move is going to come out, not when actual Zen is happening. So if you see this, it's going to be impossible to like react to stuff like this. So you are going to be able to launch or to poke people trying to do both stuffs, or either they really crouch and avoid it, or they stand and defend the stuff, but they cannot do both, right? And because this is going to be scary. See what happens to people that try to duck this catches. And there is also this option right here, right? So Jin is going to be that scary. So I don't think like in the future that many people are going to duck this. And if people are ducking you into this, that's because you are getting too predictable as per se. But you have this into 4-4. You can even backdash and bait out moves. But remember that seeing happening and react with a button is completely impossible. I have tried multiple times. You cannot do this on reaction. You have to guess. Either Jin does 3-1 and you have to duck after blocking 1 without seeing you after blocking 3 without seeing the 1, and you have to press a button before he even enters into Zen and punish him for whatever he tries to do. So if he sidesteps right after, if he does anything other than 3-1, he does like for example a 3 and backdash, 3 sidestep, 3 forward 4, 3 into whatever, is going to hit people trying to duck into moves or to interrupt 3-1 Zen. So this is the reason why I don't think 3-1 should have his gap removed, should Namco allows this to stay. So we should condition people to get our plus frames, because if they remove this gap, then Jin is going to be extremely dangerous to deal with. And we have this, and those stuff are going to condition people, either they stay ducking for too long, right, or either they just help stunning. And on top of this, we have 4-4-3, right? So you can do this for mix-ups, and let's see who has the guts like to duck this on wave dashes. So I'm really eager to see what is going to happen. And as I was saying, this is now like +4 on block, right? So you are wondering what can you do with this being +4. So I'm going to show you 3 options. The first one is this, and 2 actually, and the second one is this. So what this does is, if they try a 13 frame move, they cannot interrupt with a 13 frame move. They cannot interrupt with a 10 frame move. They cannot interrupt with anything, but they can still sidestep and block. But it's kind of like really risky, because the sidestep doesn't avoid the low. So if I do this, for example, and they try to sidestep, it's impossible to sidestep, as you guys can see. So that's a mix-up. They are going to have to eat it, because there is this, of course, which cannot be interrupted even by 10 frames, as you guys can see. And if you try to interrupt by 10 frames, see what happens to people that are trying to press buttons into this string, right? So the best solution is to duck and avoid the mix-up. And there is also this option, see? So it's almost impossible to interrupt this stuff. So it has now a low that launches people who tries to interrupt with a string, and now it has a mid that is going to be 13 frames. I'm just going, I think I delay it a little bit, so I'm going to record this again. Yes, now it was made faster. So it trades with 16 frames, 13 frame moves, as you guys can see. And this is coming like a frame slower, so I believe this was because there is one move that is faster from this, and it cannot be interrupted by 13, which is this one. See, they cannot interrupt this with 13 frames, but they can interrupt the other one. So I believe Zen 3 has 1 frame slower now than Zen 1. I believe is I-17 now, because this trades with 12 frames, and if you try to Zen 3 with 13 frames it trades, but it launches with 12 frames. They can interrupt it, right? So but still Zen 1 plus 2, it cannot be interrupted anyway, so they have to either duck it or they're gonna have to sidestep it, right? But they cannot press buttons on this any longer, and they have to see it and to happen in order to actually block or duck this. So are you going to wait in still to block a 14 frame high, or you're going to try to duck it after you see it and block it? Will you block a down? What if I do a down back 4? Will it going to hit? What if I do a 4-4-3 and you try to duck it? What if I do this into down 4-4 when you try to duck with a button? What it will happen? So these are the biggest changes that Jin got, and I'm really looking forward to some games. So see you guys on the next video. And Jin, yes, he has been buffed. Now he has more damage, he has new options, he has better anti-pressure and new windows, new Okizeme stuff. And before I forget, there is a tech roll catch now that you can utilize. Before we used it to struggle a lot with side rolls, but now the Kazakh setup, you can utilize the Kazakh setup to catch rolls. So this is always going to hit. It doesn't matter the side where they roll. Okay, I need to learn this again. So this catches either side now. It doesn't matter if they roll to that side or to this side, as long as their head is on that position, this is going to hit. So that's like a huge buff for Jin. Then that happens because Zen 2 now hits people further low. It still doesn't hit grounded, so if they remain still, you are still not going to catch them, but now you have a 3-way mix-ups with CD4, with CDS4, and if they try to wake up backwards, right, or standing up, this is going to launch. And if they try to stand up, let's see if they are able to stand up. They can block it if they stand up, right? But they cannot block the other option, which is this right here. So they cannot block this. So the Kazakh setup has been buffed, and you can utilize a 3-way mix-up with Kazakh setup now. So the either is should you learn the Kazakh setup or not, that is up to you. If you find it useful, if you find it fun, we still have some fun stuff to work on. Sadly, I just would like to everyone to pay their respects and give a 1 minute of silence to Avenger setups. They have gone too soon, and we have our fair share of fun with this move, and it's now gone. So be sure to follow this channel. So I'm going to upload some matches in the future. There is a lot of things to discover. He is madly broken in this game. Lars too. Every character got some really insane stuff, and many people say that Jin changes were minor, but as you guys can see, they were minor, but it really made a huge impact on his game. So let's see how this stuff is going to play out. So see you guys on the next video.